women. I saw that. So a woman is not, you just have to find the right mate in any relationship to stick with you, to put up with your bullshit. So a woman's not going to be better for a woman, and man not going to be better for a man. It so happened you lucked out and found a guy who's ready to settle down and know what he wants and don't want to be out there on the streets. And you found a girl with the same thing who's ready to settle down and don't want to be on the streets, and you lucked the hell out. But y'all cheat too. Just as bad. So you commentators, when you hear these guys get turned out or have sex with these transvestites, don't be so quick to judge, okay? Don't be so quick to thing, because as an officer in jail, a lot of guys get raped in jail. And that's very demeaning. These guys hold them down and rape them. Does that make him gay? He was raped. But who can he tell? Because now he don't feel like a man. And if he go and tell somebody that he was raped, most of the time, some of the time they do tell. But when they go tell, they can't go tell their family on the outward. People have to find that out by mistake. Because now the young man or the young woman feels lesser than a person. So now he's questioning his manhood because he's being repeatedly raped, because you're in the atmosphere where you can't protect yourself because it's a gang in them. So it's a constant thing. So now you're being repeatedly raped. That's when you go upstate. So, I mean, are you laughing at those guys too? Are you laughing at those women too? Is it funny that they got turned out by some lifer in jail that prey on men? Is that funny? Should that lifer in jail have a thing on his shoulders and look good that he turned out an inmate, a straight inmate? Should he? And when that inmate go home and he got a little feminine ways because he's repeatedly raped in jail, what do you say? What do you say to this young man who got beat up in jail sexually and now is confused of what he is, went in straight as a pin, but was repeatedly raped because he don't have any fellow inmates to help him fight, and he fought and he fought and he fought, but it was too much of them, so he gave in, or he was raped. Well, he didn't give in. He just couldn't fight anymore because they held him down repeatedly. Because when you're on your own in jail, upstate, and 12 guys come at you and you can't even take a shower because they waiting for you, and you're repeatedly sodomized, and you have nobody to turn to, because if you tell the officers, they're going to put you in private seg. That means you can't be with the rest of the guys, so you're being punished, because now you got 23 in, one out. You're being punished, and you're the one that was raped. But they have nowhere else to put you in the jail. They can't put you in admin seg. They can't put you in the regular segregate. They have to segregate you. They have to put you somewhere else. And a lot of jails don't have that separate gay, place or whatever. Not gay place, a place where, you know. So they have to lock you in the cell for 23, bring you out for one. So now you're depressed because you're isolated. So now you're suicidal. And it goes down from there, ladies and gentlemen. So stop making fun of these guys when you hear the story. You don't know the whole story. You don't know the whole story. So stop making fun of them. It's not something to laugh about. And we're losing our young black men. We're losing our men day by day because they have no one to turn to, no one to talk to. Because if they say anything to anybody, they're going to be laughed at. They're going to be pointed at. You know, it's not pretty. So, if you grow up and you decide to be what you decide to be, fine, by all means. But when you're young, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, no, you don't know. Oh, I knew when I was 12. No, you don't know. You don't know. You're going by environment. You're going by what you see on TV. You're going by what other people, adults, is telling you how you're supposed to feel or what they went through or whatever they can. You're going by that. You're not going by what you experiencing. You're not experiencing life to know nothing. It's just like I grew up in a neighborhood where everybody's complaining about white people and Jewish people and stuff. Like, I grew up in not my family, because my family used to work for Jews and stuff. So we seen the good side. So when I went to college and I saw white people, even though all along my teachers was great, my white teachers was great, but when I went to college, I experienced different things. Other white students, other white professors and stuff like that. My eyes started opening, and I'm like, all white people is not prejudiced. Then I started working. I'm like, all white people is not like that. Because I started experiencing life. If I stayed in the same neighborhood that I grew up in and heard about white people, white people, white people all the time, I would grow up with that because I'm in the neighborhood and I'm not growing. And these people are angry because of what they're going through, what they didn't put into their life for their life to turn out better. They blaming other people because they didn't put much into their life. They didn't fight and fight and fight. And, you know, so they're angry that they didn't get to a plateau where they think they're supposed to be, but you didn't put nothing into it. You didn't, everybody have a lot of kids. I know a couple of people with a lot of kids, but they still progress. But you have one or two kids and you give up. You get into the system, you stay in the system because if you work, you can't get your rent paid. If you work, you can't do this. If so you're tied into the system and then you just get lost. So when I went to college, my eyes opened because I wasn't around that atmosphere alone all the time. I didn't hear all the grievances. So when you hear all these grievances, you gotta be like, okay, so I had a hard time growing up. Yeah, I did. I mean, cause I had a child at a young age, so I had to go from job to job because I was working temp. And then when I finally got a job, you know who fired me off? He laid me off. It was an Indian guy, laid me off. He was prejudiced against himself, but I didn't. I didn't hate all Indians. He didn't like. He was firing all the black people on the job. And this guy told me, he keep firing all the black people. I'm like, for real? He said, yeah. Watch. He didn't like himself. And then his son used to come to the job because every year we would have a party. His son used to come to the job and his son would tell us, my father don't want me to date no black person. He wants me to date a white woman. And then my one of my best friends was Indian on the job. And she would lay it out to me. She said that I have to be a virgin when I get married. And she was in her 20s with a master's degree, getting a doctorate. And she was like, I like this guy, but my parents is not going to agree. Da, 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 da. And she would tell me the culture. But I grew up with the Indian culture because I grew up around Indians. My grandmother's half Indian. And we would, but this Indian boss was firing all the black people because he didn't like black people. but that didn't make me not like other Indians, like I said, and that didn't deter me. And then I remember my Italian boss told me one time, because I went into the office and I told him I want a better raise. Oh yeah, I had the nerve that time too, when I was younger, because I worked with this Cuban lady, and every lunchtime she would get drunk, and after 12 she wouldn't work, and I would be doing everybody's work. It was just me and her. I would be doing all the secretarial work. So when it came time to raise, she would get I think a 5 or 7% raise, and I would get a 2% raise. And I went into the office, and I'm like, listen, I do so and so and so and so, and I do and so and so and so and so. I said after 12 o'clock, I'm doing all the work and blah 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 blah. I said, is it possible that I can get a better raise? I didn't go in there and bring color into it or whatever the case may be. She was there longer than me, yes. She had seniority, yes, because she was there longer than me and what have you. But on the work aspect, we both did the same work from 9 to 12. Well, she was always lollygagging all over the place because she dated one of the bosses. She was married, he was married, but they liked each other. And but after 12 she did nothing. And then when it was 5 o'clock, 4:30, I guess she would stop being drunk, and then she start working. Then she would do a whole bunch of overtime. So when I went into my Italian boss's office, and I told, he said, yeah, we know this. He said, then one of the other girls, the Spanish girl, she lived in New Jersey, but she came to Manhattan to work, and but she always wore short skirts. I'm not talking about short by your knee. I'm talking about short above your knee. And we was talking or whatever the case may be. And he said, you don't have to be like that in order to get what you want. He said some people feel that, that's the only route they can go, because she was always turning flirting with the bosses. You understand? So, and then, the other lady from Cuba, she was Puerto Rican, and the other one was Cuban. And the Cuban one was seeing the boss, and the other Puerto Rican one was flirting with all the bosses. So, he told me, he said, you don't have to be like certain people in order to get what you want. He said, we know your value. He said, well, I'll discuss it with the other partners, and I'll get back to you. And I got my 5% raise. She was pissed off because, of course, her man told her about it. But because of my value, I did work. I didn't go in there and cry this racial thing. No, I put my points out. I said, listen, I do all the work, blah, blah, and I do the work, blah, 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 blah. I show them whatever, and I come in, you know, and I guess they sat around and they said, yeah, around it, she's worth the raise, and they gave me my raise. Then when she got pissed off, she started doing some stupid stuff. So they gave me my own office after that, which pissed off even more. But I always looked at her as my boss because she was the senior secretary. I gave her that respect, but she didn't too care for me, because how dare I get the same raise as her? Yeah, if you do some work, maybe I wouldn't. So go at your value, ladies and gentlemen. Your value. Some people could be at a job for 20 years and do nothing. I have a friend, and I'm not going to call her out. I'm not even going to call the company she works for. And she said to me, they're not getting anything extra from me. I'm coming in 5 before 9 and leaving 5:01. And then when other people get raises and when other people get promotions, she gets upset. Well, I've been here for almost 20 something years and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, you just exist. You just exist. And God forbid if anybody wants to be hired than a regular worker. Because I remember when I told her I was taking a captain test. Oh, you want to be in charge? No, I said I want some more money. And I want to move up. Oh, you always running after so and so and so. No progress. You don't want to give the company nothing more than they expect. You don't want to show them your value, but then you expect to get money like the other people. You expect to get. She didn't want to get promoted, or maybe she did, and she acted like she didn't. You know, but how are you going to want something that other people work hard? Other people showed the boss that they can come in on time, they can work extra hours, they can bring some thought into the company to make the company better. No, you just whatever's put in front of you, that's what you do. You come in 5 before 9, and you leave in 5:01. You can't expect that. So I hear some of these people, even blacks and white, mostly black. Oh, I've been working here for so and so long. Yeah, but what have you put into the company? You've been here 25, 30 years, but what did you do for the company? Did you bring the company any extra ideas to make money so everybody can make money and you can get a better raise? Did you do that? No, you just existed. So you got to hear the whole story. Oh, blacks is not being treated so and so and so and so. And they put into this company and only the bosses is making money and blah blah blah. Yeah, but you come 5 to 9 and you leave 5:01 with nothing else in between. And then you want to take 2 hour lunches. Then every minute you're coming up with some excuse about your kid's sick and you do this and you can't find babysitter and yeah, we have that problem as a minority. We do. It's hard to find babysitters. I totally understand. But when it's time to go in that office and get a raise and get a promotion, you got to know all that stuff is going to come back at you. And it's not racism. It's your butt need to be on time. Find a babysitter the night before. Don't party. Stop spending your money on stuff and can't pay your rent. The government sent you money. You don't want to pay your rent. Then you don't want to pay the landlord. And you want to blame the landlord. The landlord have a bank to answer to. Oh, they got a house. And no, they got a bank they have to answer to. Just because they have a house, that don't mean they rolling in dough. They hood rich. They got a house and a nice car, and that's it. That's what I meant about me being rich the other day. Hood rich. House, car. Boom. That's it. So all of y'all who say that, oh, she this and no, pay your rent. They got a mortgage to pay. Because if they don't pay the mortgage, they're going to lose their house and you're going to lose your home too. Think about that. Bye.